Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Beach coming to you here with the full show preview for WWE SmackDown 12/27. This is the final SmackDown, the final WWE show of 2016. Closing it out, and SmackDown sure is knowing how to close out the year with basically a SmackDown pay-per-view. It almost reminds me a lot of when TNA would basically run TNA Impact, that they would treat it like a pay-per-view, giving it a name like Sacrifice or Destination X or names like that. Basically, just trying to hype up Impact as must-see television. They were running with the gimmick that Spike TV and Dixie Carter had basically bought out the pay-per-view, almost giving it to the fans as a thank you for being a fan of TNA. It is sort of a desperate attempt to pull in some ratings. But honestly, I think WWE is knocking it out of the park. They ran Chicago back-to-back nights. Monday Night Raw tonight, honestly, in my opinion, was a little bit dull. There was some hype for Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Of course, this is going to be the Royal Rumble main event. I honestly thought there was no chance in hell that they were going to be making Kevin Owens into a double champion, so it sort of made the main event sort of null and void to me. Honestly, if they were to put Roman Reigns up against Chris Jericho, I would think that there was a chance that they would take the title off of Roman, putting it on Jericho with interference from Kevin Owens. I think that's more of a believable match, but it's not what they ran with, so it is what it is. The big thing that they're hyping up tomorrow for SmackDown is, of course, the what are they calling it? The wild card finals. I honestly don't even know what the wild card finals are. That's just the name of the show that they gave it. But to me, honestly, it comes down to one thing: the return of John Cena. Cena's been gone for honestly a good while. The last time we saw him, I believe, was after he lost the one-on-one match to no, I think the last time we saw him was at No Mercy here in Sacramento when he lost that three-way. I think that was the last time we saw him. I don't think he lost the singles match to AJ, where he took off the armband, he left it in the ring about never give up. I think he came back for No Mercy. I went to that show, and I still honestly can't really remember what month that was, but he's been gone honestly for a good while. Not quite sure about what Cena's going to be doing when he comes back on the show. He could instantly challenge AJ Styles after he beats Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. That's a big match that's going to be on the show. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it meant more when it was a singles match, when it was just Ziggler against AJ. Baron Corbin being added to it doesn't really, add a whole bunch to it. I guess maybe it makes Baron Corbin more of a believable guy in the long run, but not today. He just needs to get experience. He needs to get better. And being in big matches like this, main eventing, SmackDown is going to be good for him. You don't really want him to turn into the Big Show or Mark Henry. Big Show and Mark Henry are guys that honestly WWE loves to put in main event matches after having him lose for months at a time. And then all of a sudden they'll put, John Cena versus Mark Henry as the main event of Monday Night Raw, thinking that it's going to be a huge deal because of how big Mark Henry is. And you look at Mark Henry and you're like, well, if anybody's going to be able to beat John Cena, it's going to be this guy. Baron Corbin is a guy, honestly, that if they get behind, I can honestly see him having a bright future in WWE. But the whole thing is that I can't remember Baron Corbin getting a win on SmackDown, honestly, since he beat Dolph Ziggler before SummerSlam. That was back in July when they were having that feud. And now all of a sudden they want Baron Corbin to be a real main eventer, going after the WWE Championship, being a competitor against AJ Styles. Same thing with Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler lost to Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam. He lost the feud to Baron Corbin throughout the summer. He lost to The Miz. He did beat him one time when his career was on the line, but then he just lost to him again in the rematch. So I'm not looking for anything spectacular in this match. Obviously, AJ is going to be retaining his championship and moving on. But anything could happen in WWE, I guess you can say. The Royal Rumble's up around the corner. I think that AJ is going to be keeping the championship until WrestleMania 33. So honestly, in my opinion, with John Cena coming back, if he wasn't to challenge AJ for the Royal Rumble, he honestly could just say he's going to be getting into the Rumble itself, and then winning it, and then challenging AJ, and having a big match at WrestleMania 33, which I think is a very appealing match in my opinion. And then from there, as we run down the SmackDown preview, they get the championship match. Obviously, I think that AJ definitely is going to be winning that one. You have the Wyatt family defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a 4-corner eliminations match. That match is going to be filled out with the Usos, Heath Slater and Rhino, as well as American Alpha. I would love for American Alpha, honestly, to win this match and take the Tag Team Championships, because I think that, honestly, they have a bright future in WWE, even though the fact that they really haven't been used quite to their capability, that it's like they get pushed to the fact that everybody knows how much talent these guys have, but they're never able to really pull it out and show what they are. Obviously, something is going on with the Wyatts, with the Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Luke Harper sort of union. I don't really see where they're going with this, if they're going to be challenging against Undertaker and Kane, or if it's just they want us to think that they're actually playing nice, and then Randy is going to hit the biggest RKO out of nowhere on Bray Wyatt, leading to them losing the championships, and Randy being able to beat up Bray, have another match, and finally win the feud. Honestly, in my opinion, if they were becoming a false tag team, they would have already lost. Maybe not even won the tag team championships. But then again, maybe this is all a big, huge plan of Randy as some sort of payback for the whole thing with Bray. But it's almost like Kane isn't even upset at the fact that they've pulled this Master Sheme on him, and Randy hitting the RKO on Kane never really had a payoff. But then again, Kane really isn't a part of everyday WWE. From here on out. The last big thing that's going to be going down on the show, of course, is going to be another championship match. Alexa Bliss putting the championship on the line against Becky Lynch. Alexa did win the championship. Did she win? I think she did win it on SmackDown when they were in Ireland. I think that's where it went down. I don't think it was on a pay-per-view, but I could be wrong. No. Yeah, because Becky Lynch beat Alexa Bliss in that match, but Alexa was able to prove that even though she tapped out, her foot was on the rope, and then she got a rematch at the pay-per-view, and as the pay-per-view is when Alexa was able to beat Becky. But I just don't think that this is the match where it's going to change hands. Alexa really has knocked it out of the park, being an excellent heel, as well as Carmella. People really knocked the SmackDown women's division after the draft. But since then, Nikki Bella has been added, and they've been having a lot of really good matches over there. Becky Lynch always is going to be, I think, what everything is built around. Alexa getting a chance with the championship, as well as being able to show off that she really is a real, true villain in the WWE, I think is really an awesome thing. This is going to be a really good show. Treat this like a pay-per-view, and I think you'll have a fun 2 hours of watching wrestling tomorrow night live from Chicago on SmackDown. So we'll see what goes on, and we'll see you guys down the road. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach Kipping to you here. I'm sure everyone out there is waiting until the minute that John Cena returns to SmackDown tomorrow. I honestly can't remember how long John Cena's been missing in action. I think he left a few months ago to film his Fox reality show that honestly I can't remember the name of it, but they take ordinary people like me and you and teach them how to be Navy SEALs. Last year you had people jumping into pits of ice and doing obstacle courses. I think a piece of it was filmed up somewhere near Bothell, Washington, up where Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly is. John Cena coming back, honestly, is the right time of year to spice it up. It's good that, John Cena has left us a few times due to injury or due to outside interests. And it seems like almost every time he comes back, it's always a match against Alberto Del Rio. I think it was a few times we had him return at Hell in the Cell, and it was just John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio. One time they came back and they had a World Heavyweight Championship match.
where Cena took the championship. I think another time he came back and they just had a regular match. Del Rio, not in the company anymore. He's not going to be coming back and fighting Del Rio. That is one thing that we can officially say. My first thought about John Cena coming back, what he's going to be doing on SmackDown, is that he's just going to enter himself into the Royal Rumble, basically saying that he's going to be one of the 30 contestants. He wants to go to WrestleMania. He wants this to be a big one. I don't think that John Cena is going to come out and say that this might be his last WrestleMania. We still have Rock coming back and forth and back and around. Rock hasn't been an official, real part of the WWE roster in my mind since honestly since about WrestleMania 19. He came back for WrestleMania 20, and then he was gone for a long time. He made a lot of appearances between 27 and 28, but he never was a part of the main roster. 29, he was there, he wrestled one match, and he came back, he did the Royal Rumble, he did Elimination Chamber. But, being a part of the real roster, to me, is being a guy like Kofi Kingston or a guy like Cesaro, a guy that's going to entertain on house shows. He's going to do Raw, he's going to do SmackDown, he's going to do a lot of stuff. So, John Cena, I think, is always going to want to be a part of WWE because of the way he knows that Vince pushes him and the way that Vince is going to sell his products. I mean, The Rock is still selling shirts. Tons of them. Brock Lesnar does a few appearances a year, wrestles a few matches. He's one of the leading guys in merchandise each and every year. I'm sure that he's always going to be a part of the family. It's not like Cena's going to be leaving us and going to wrestle for New Japan or TNA or Global Force or anything like that. So he's always going to have a spot. So maybe it's not his last WrestleMania, but maybe definitely one of his last WrestleManias where he's around for a good portion of the year. Each and every year he's got more and more outside interest going on. But, the big number for John Cena is number 16, and that's right up around the corner. I honestly think in my mind right now, John Cena is the odds-on favorite to win the Royal Rumble because of the fact that he goes to WrestleMania. He can fight against AJ Styles if AJ's able to keep the championship. That's a big feud. Honestly, in my mind, it might be feud of the year. And in my mind, I think one of the wrestlers of the year definitely is going to be AJ Styles. If not, he's going to be the one. Just because of the huge year he's had. I know they had the match at SummerSlam. That was followed up by having a six-man tag, and then they had another singles. And I can't remember what pay-per-view that was, but AJ was able to win both of those. So I'm not just going to come out and do I don't want to use just a behind-the-scenes sort of gimmick talking about the fact that, AJ owes him a win. But because honestly, in my mind, I think that, Cena needs to get that win back. And it's not just because he owes him one, because he helped to get him over. I think that honestly, John needs to get in there and John needs to do it. It reminds me a lot of like the in-between WrestleMania 28 and 29. John Cena needed to beat The Rock to be able to say that he was still able to do this and still prove that he is the guy and he can still hang with these young guns that are taking over the WWE, and he's not being pushed out to the farm. The only other thing is I can think that they have that three-man triple threat for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler challenging against AJ Styles, and then just comes out and challenges AJ for the Royal Rumble. But I think honestly, in my mind, that's putting you're trying to hatch the egg before it comes out of the chicken. It's just, I think that honestly, you need build up for that. You need the John to overcome something, not just come back and reward him. It reminds me a lot of like when Rock showed up on that episode of Monday Night Raw, and they just said, boom, guess what? You're the number one contender at the Royal Rumble. Well, it's June. What the fuck did he do to enter in a title shot in January? It didn't really make a lot of sense then, but all I knew is I bought my ticket for the Royal Rumble, and I bought my plane ticket before The Rock got out of the ring. The Alamo Dome's a big fucking building. They want to put a ton of people in there. Last time they had 70,000. They just had 102,000 in Dallas for WrestleMania 32. I think it is doable. The Royal Rumble is a must-see pay-per-view. Everyone at least needs to see one Royal Rumble in their time. I've been lucky enough to go to two of them. I went in 2002 when Triple H won. I went in 2013 when The Rock beat CM Punk, and then John Cena won the Royal Rumble. It was one hell of a day there in Phoenix. But I don't know. I lean more towards Cena just coming out and saying he's back. He's going to be in the Rumble, and then we go from there. John Cena appearing on SmackDown each and every week, I think it's going to be less and less from here on out. But this is a return. They're pushing. We'll see what goes down. It's going to be a big one. Tuesday night on SmackDown. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here as we count down until the December 27th edition of WWE SmackDown, coming to you live from Chicago. What a night this honestly is going to be. My buddy Pinko is going to be there live in attendance. 2 nights of wrestling action for only $30 to sit in the same seat for Raw and SmackDown on back-to-back nights. One hell of a steal. They set up the main event a few weeks ago, which was honestly a very shocking occurrence in my mind. At this point, I can't even remember how Dolph Ziggler won the match. I want to think that it was like a fatal 4-way involving The Miz, Dean Ambrose, and Luke Harper. That's off the top of my head, but it honestly could have been a battle royal or anything. I just honestly can't remember what it was. And then after the sort of shock of Dolph Ziggler becoming the #1 contender, after the fact that he lost the feud to Baron Corbin, lost the championship shot at SummerSlam, lost 2 Intercontinental Championship matches against The Miz before finally winning and then immediately re-losing the championship to The Miz, now is in shot to get a WWE Championship shot on SmackDown. Honestly, out of the middle of nowhere. I know that honestly with the brand split, it's going to make a lot of guys on the roster mean more than they had meant before. Some guys are going to rise. Honestly, looking at the Raw roster as well as the SmackDown roster, maybe besides for The Miz and definitely AJ Styles, who was rising before the brand split happened, I can't think of the brand split really helping anyone out going along with this. Dolph Ziggler is a guy that just bounces around from championship shot to championship shot, losing them, and just gets new ones just out of the middle of thin air. I know that we are in December, going into January. Everything is going to change once the Royal Rumble comes, but having him be a #1 contender honestly really surprised me. Backing that up out of the middle of nowhere with, it does make sense. The feud was back in May, June, and July, but it's still fresh on a lot of hardcore fans' minds. Out of the middle of nowhere, Baron Corbin comes out of the back. This guy, honestly, in my mind, hasn't won a match since beating Dolph Ziggler. But he comes down to the ring and he basically calls out Ziggler, basically saying, "You don't steal the show, you steal other people's opportunities," and is backed up by the fact that Daniel Bryan turns the match from a one-on-one match to a 3-way. So now Dolph Ziggler is not only going up against AJ Styles for the championship, now he also has to beat out Baron Corbin, a guy that he couldn't beat other than the time that he walked right up and kicked him right in the nuts and took the disqualification. I don't really know what to think of this. I mean, honestly, when you look at this, neither of these guys, Baron Corbin nor Dolph Ziggler, are going to be beating AJ Styles for the championship. We just need to get AJ to the Royal Rumble. Honestly, in my mind, I think that AJ is going to be holding that championship until WrestleMania. Definitely has to have a match at the Royal Rumble, which is crazy to find out. He debuted at last year's 2016 #3 spot, and now here he is. He's been holding that championship since Backlash, which I can't remember what month that was, but I want to say that that was one of the first pay-per-views of the brand split, so that was probably around September, holding that championship on his first run. So many times when guys get the belt for their first time, they turn into these geeks that just can't win a match to save their life, like Rey Mysterio or Dean Ambrose, and they just find weird ways to escape with their championship. But, AJ, even though he's a heel, keeps finding ways to beat guys over and over again, and it's not from his buddies like Gallows and Anderson having his back like he did during the John Cena feud. We'll see what happens on SmackDown, but this is probably one of the bigger matches besides for the John Cena return, which might just end up being a promo. But I'm not really looking forward to a lot from this. I'm probably looking forward more from the Intercontinental Championship match more than anything else from it. But this is a big one for SmackDown. Baron Corbin, AJ Styles, and Dolph Ziggler in a three-way. Could be really good. With Dolph Ziggler, it could steal the show. AJ, even though he is coming off of the injury, put the Ellsworth feud to rest. So we'll see. He had 2 weeks off, and well, 3, I guess, if you count the Ellsworth deal. We'll see if he's 100% ready to go and what he can give us. I'm looking for a good one, but probably just AJ retaining, and that's going to be about it. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stephen Breach coming to you. One more championship match added to the big SmackDown show coming up to you live December 27th, live on SmackDown Live on USA. Of course, that's going to be the big rematch of Becky Lynch going up against Alexa Bliss. I can honestly say that I've honestly been really surprised by Alexa Bliss of how great of a champion she has really been. I don't want to paint the picture of her just being a pretty girl on the roster. She's been somebody who WWE found and thought they had skills to become a wrestler, trained them at the Performance Center, pushed them through. But when it came to her getting her championship shot at the last SmackDown show, I honestly didn't think that she was going to be able to take the championship from Becky Lynch. I honestly thought that they were really building their brand on the SmackDown division, being built around Becky, of how great a wrestler she was. People were honestly very negative on the draft and the women's division on SmackDown, basically saying that Becky Lynch was there and that was almost all they really had. But since then, Carmella, as well as Alexa Bliss, have really proved themselves as being real strong heels. Nikki Bella is coming on strong right now as the sort of experienced baby face. She's the person that people are going to love and people are going to boo. She's so linked to John Cena that she's going to be that 50-50 girl, even though she's supposed to be a baby face. And people are going to treat her the same way, even if she's a heel. So it's better to keep her in that role. Alexa was really starred as being the champion and showed off that she does have that sort of extra push to be a heel. She is somebody that you can really think is going to take somebody out and throw somebody in a wood chipper. If that's what it takes for her to go out and win the match, she does have that sort of evil, really deed to it. When she sort of took on this role of being Harley Quinn, I guess you can say, from the Suicide Squad, that was a real big, add to her character. She really caught my eye when she was sort of the bubbly fairy princess in NXT, and then when she joined with Blake and Murphy and became sort of like their muscle manager, being able to get in there and get some heat, help them stay ahead in the match. That was really cool, but then she really stepped out of the spotlight as the background performer, as sort of the main event of that deal, and pushed to be there. It seems like she just keeps on evolving and becoming more. I honestly would love for Becky to step up and win her championship back, but honestly, on this episode of SmackDown, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to be Alexa Bliss's night. I don't know if she'll get an actual real victory. But one way or another, I think Alexa's going to be walking away with the championship. But Becky's going to get chances down the road. As long as they have this sort of division and they don't make any trades or bring anybody up from NXT, Becky Lynch is the best wrestler that they have in the women's division on SmackDown, and she's always going to get chances to shine. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming right up around the corner on that big SmackDown Live for tomorrow night that is basically almost being treated as if it's its own WWE SmackDown pay-per-view. This is going to be a really big show. One of the big matches that's going to be going down is the Wyatt family defending the SmackDown Tag Team Champions in a four-corner eliminations match, which is just packed full of talent from the Usos, Rhino and Heath Slater, as well as American Alpha. I think everybody knows that I'm going to pick American Alpha to win this match. I know that that WWE Tag Team Championship reign for American Alpha needs to be coming up right up around the corner. These guys honestly have been treated as if they were a really big deal. You can remember when they were drafted and they were held off of the first annual SmackDown Live, saying that their debut would be next week. Honestly, they've been treated as if they were going to have some big matches here and there along the time with SmackDown, but they've never really got the chance to really shine. They had a few matches against the Usos. They were involved in the SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series tag team match, but I don't know. this is a great team. There's a lot of talent with Gable and Jordan. They just haven't been able to let themselves shine. I know that Rhino and Heath Slater are the former champions, but honestly, these geeks don't need to be involved in this match. When you got guys like the Usos, which are packed full of talent, you know that these guys can win the tag team championships almost at any time. They're a team to be reckoned with, and you can't take them lightly. The Wyatts definitely are the flavor of the month right now in the tag team division. I don't really know where they're going with this Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton combination. Luke Harper's involved in it as well, but we haven't yet to see what this duo is teaming up for, and we don't really know why Bray Wyatt wants Randy Orton as a part of the team, why Randy Orton wants to be a part of the Wyatts. He definitely hasn't done anything to really change his attire or change his demeanor. He just sort of seems to go out there and act as if he's Randy Orton. It's almost like the creative team and the writers have a plan for Randy, but just Randy isn't going along with it, but he's just going out there and having matches because he has to have the match in order not to breach his contract and do it. It's sort of like, I'm going to go out there, but I'm going to half-ass it. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if something comes from this, something comes from this, but it's almost like he doesn't really think that anything is going on as well. It's almost like when he would publicly tweet that he wanted to turn heel because he knew that Randy Orton is a babyface, really wasn't going anywhere. I really like the SmackDown Tag Team division. I think this is going to be a really fun, really good match. With the elimination faction, I mean, honestly, Heath Slater and Rhino could get dumped out just as fast. I'm hoping that the Usos will get eliminated next, coming down to the Wyatts against American Alpha. I don't think that the tag titles are going to be changing hands because of the fact that there has to be some sort of payoff for Orton and the Wyatts teaming up together. I don't know really where that is going. For so long, we thought that Randy was just sort of tricking Bray to think that he was being hypnotized and that he was a part of him and he was just going to RKO him someday out of the middle of nowhere and everybody could tweet hashtag RK out of nowhere and just go bananas. But it's almost as if now they're playing it off that Randy really is in the group. So I don't really know where they're building it to, if they're maybe going to be taking on Undertaker and Kane at WrestleMania. That's a long shot sort of guess, but then again, when I think about Undertaker at WrestleMania, it's really I got no clue what the hell they're going to be doing. But I'm looking forward to this match tomorrow. From Chicago, is going to be a big show, so we'll see what goes on with this one. But no doubt in my mind, I want American Alpha to win. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Wyatts and Randy Orton are going to be walking out with those tag team titles.